Let's meet Thomas and his friends.
Follow the arrow to find your destiny. See that? Gave Thomas Wood the flick. There's a double James there. People might get excited by that. Maybe you'll see where this is going. And look how tough that ukulele is. And so many people blow off steam. You can see from that there, that is just Tommy Toy Magic. Check out Thomas's, pretty darn awesome. And of course he's the #1 engine. Ooh, this is nice. Yeah. Nah. That doesn't come with it, okay. Gordon on top, Henry underneath. What is a good pattern? Of course, unbox it very gently. When she had a problem, like she couldn't jump up, of a completely unknown brand. Breaker. Thomas is a walkie-talkie. Fat controller is standing on an oil drum. Yeah, that's fluffy full-blown crazy. Now, I quite like this one because you can see exactly what you're in for. I see this all the time.
Oh, can I have that blah 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 phone that makes little sounds?
Oh, we're getting a call. Hello? Can you hear me? Guess what super glue's for? Here we go again on another Mega Thomas & Friends merchandise collection video. This is the third video of the Mega Collection videos. In episode 2, we had a look at the wonderful board book called Races to the Rescue. Very much a trip back in time of Thomas & Friends merchandise. Had a wonderful little story there connected to a little layout where a wind-up Thomas toy would race around the tracks. Wonderful to see. A very nice piece of merchandise. We also had a look at caps and beanies and things that you put on your head. And as we go back in time and look at stuff, we start to see the cool stuff. That seems to be one of the constants that I see when looking at Thomas & Friends merchandise. We also had a look at clothes, and it's always interesting to see the different way Thomas is rendered on clothes, but we also had a look at some Dark Side knockoff clothes as well, which had very convincing labels on them. And you have to be really, really careful if you're buying Thomas & Friends clothes online. You don't want to be picking up the wrong stuff and paying too much money for it. Then we looked over some Thomas & Friends shoes, and some of these were stunning to look at, and some of the shoes had more details on them than some of the current Thomas the Tank toys. We also had a look at some socks, and I made socks interesting somehow, I hope, and you can see little variations that go on over the years when looking at things like that. We also very carefully looked at Thomas & Friends underwear. Yes, Thomas & Friends does everything, you know. Then we had a look at some Dark Side underwear, which is definitely something you don't want to touch. Then we meandered across to gardening sets, and we had a look at a more recent piece of merchandise, which was really, sadly, just trash. It's just too much plastic. We don't want that anymore in our lives. But we also had a look at some classic Thomas & Friends merchandise where things were made of metal, and it was actually really nice to have in the hand and take a look at. Again, as we go back in time, we see the good stuff over and over. I had a comparison between a take-along Thomas and a push-along Thomas, which is the Thomas of the 2020 era. Then we had a look at the 100 building blocks, which was in a tub. It was one of these things that sort of looked amazing when you looked on the outside, but then when you started to pull it apart, there just wasn't enough Thomas & Friends-y stuff going on in there. It needed more printing. It needed more double printing on the blocks. It sort of missed the mark, and it really didn't key into Thomas Wooden Railway or Thomas Wood, which would have been awesome if it did. It was so off the mark. In fact, Godzilla came out and he had a rampage through these wooden blocks, and I think a lot of the audience were quite shocked to see Godzilla reappear on the scene again. Then we had a look at the Christmas gift pack, and look, there was some good stuff in there, but there was also some stuff there that really I think you're just going to put in the bin fairly quickly. And when Godzilla sees that sort of stuff, you know what he does? He has another little rampage. It was a very long episode looking at Thomas & Friends merchandise, and I think all the time we learn things, especially when we compare stuff from today versus stuff from yesteryear. Now, a lot of people do see stuff on the table here and they say, we want to take a look at that item there, but they may not realize that I've actually done videos like this before where I didn't have the mega collection out. I had just pieces of it coming to a table where I did toy reviews. Now, there are actually a lot of things on the table here which have been looked at before, and those other videos are sort of hidden in my channel somewhere. Maybe if you just search up Thomas & Friends merchandise as a video search on my channel, maybe you'll find those videos. But I certainly have looked at quite a few items which are up on the big table here that people still get excited about. The Thomas and Friends ukulele also came out for a bit of a bash, and of course I got the super glue out and it's back to normal again, so don't scream at me. Okay, let's do it. First up, we're going to take a look at the Thomas and Friends magnetic scribbler. That's a more recent piece of merchandise. I'm going to compare it with something from a bit of a bygone classic era. We'll take a look at this magnetic scribbler first. It says it contains a magnetic scribbler, 2 by magnetic stamps and magnetic pen. I suppose it's one of these pieces of merchandise where you could slap any stickers and whatnot on it and it can become another franchise in an instant. I paid $20 for this. I think I purchased it at Toys R Us, and the licensing info on this is 2016. Would you have been tempted to buy one of these? I had a bit of a bad habit. If I saw some Thomas and Friends merchandise in store, and often it was in Toys R Us, not many other stores had the stuff, I would grab it and I thought, oh, one day I'll take a look at it on YouTube, and well, this is the day, isn't it? Okay, I'll just very carefully unbox this. I'd hate to damage anything in the unboxing process. It's actually got quite an elaborate box, quite 3D, and the strange part is the box is almost as heavy as a scribbler. And now what's that telling you already, hey? I'll just very carefully get rid of this box. Oops, sorry Fluffy. And we'll take that sheet off there and we'll have a bit of a scribble. The fun always starts when you get the magnetic pen here and you start scribbling on this, and we're going to do a little drawing here today. Maybe you'll see where this is going. Okay, it's a thing that looks like this. It's got a shape like that up the back here. It's got a section that comes through like this. Okay, yeah, maybe if we do details like this, we can give it a bit of a shape. We can also put in windows and a door here. Okay, and of course a very important feature is maybe something down here like this, nice and big, because we don't want a rough ride, do we? And there's something between these to make it all work, and also something which will power that, and it'll be connected up here somewhere. Oh, we better put this in, very important part of the steam locomotive, the dome here. Okay, so yes, you can do something like that. Of course, there are the shapes here as well. I was never really a fan of the shapes. You can sort of colour in with these. You can put like a dot here if you want. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we didn't have the fancy little shape things. There's also a triangle. Maybe you could draw some smoke here with a triangle, something like that. So yeah, that's the basics of playing with a toy like this. They're actually fairly addictive, and you can keep redoing your artwork by cleaning it off like that, and you've got a clean slate. Now, there are some toys, this is a take-along Thomas here, and they had a nice magnet in them, and you can also draw on this. You can actually draw like a little railway here. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, and then you can run your Thomas on the railway, and that's how children play, and that's how I play as well. Okay, but you've got to be careful. Not all Thomas toys have the same sort of magnet, and I'm going to get a Thomas wooden railway. See that? Gave Thomas Wood the flick. And if I do some drawing with this magnet here, it's nowhere near as strong in the way it pulls up the powder, which is the secret in this little caboose. Okay, so you see that there, that's Thomas Wooden Railway. Okay, and then we'll get back to our take along here, and you'll see it draws a much darker rendering there. Okay, so yeah, in a strange way, this toy would be far more awesome if it had, let's say, a little toy train, a little Thomas that is, or whatever character, and it had a magnet on it. Of course, it would be connected to it somewhere, and that would be more dynamic than, let's say, that, which is just a boring pen with some stickers on it. But hey, you know, I'd hate to be an ideas man for a toy company, but I think it's more awesome if it was a little bit more, let's say, Thomas-rific. At the moment, it's just, well, something that's got some Thomas stickers on it, and it could really be any brand at all. You can have fun with these by doing something like this, and it's a shame there isn't more artwork with this, and you can put that there and you can come along and then you can trace things. I'm just going to do a very simple example here of this here, being nice and careful. Some people love to do tracing sort of work, and then when you take it away, there you go, you've got that tracing. But we didn't quite get there. There's lots of opportunities this could have had to make it a little bit more awesome. And if we take a look on the back, and I've got some blue tack behind it, that's the secret to my videos. Everything's got blue tack attached. There goes all the secrets of my videos. And really, you look at the back here, and this is just a fairly flimsy thing. It's not the sort of merchandise really that I'm going to be hanging on to. I don't think there's very much special going on there. You know, I'm a hard marker when it comes to merchandise like this. Let me just gently put this aside and let me grab something which is fairly similar, but this is far, far more awesome. Maybe some people who watch my stuff know where this came from. I'm going to write here the company who was behind this miraculous item, and I'm glad I picked it up because I tell you what, it's taught me a few lessons about awesome. Okay, the company behind this one is Tomy. As you can see, it's had a very hard life. I picked it up from a rubbish pile when I was taking a look at rubbish in the area. The batteries that came out of it have all leaked, so this has affected this item. It's sun affected as well. The Thomas there looks rather strange because he's turned green. He would have been blue before the sun got him. I don't know what was here. Maybe these were stamps that you played with down here. And of course, Percy being green, well, he's stayed green, hasn't he? Thomas and Percy are on a collision course if they keep going in that direction. And it is a peculiar relief that they've got going on here. You know what it reminded me of? The Thomas from the Stuck On stories. Look at that there. Almost a pigeon pair apart from the colour of the engines. Wonderful. And when you look at those two, well, you can say this is from a later era, and you can look at this Thomas here and look at the face, and that's definitely something from a bygone era. I'll just take the Stuck On Stories Thomas away. Yes, let me just turn this over and I'll show you the year. And also had this open. I did try to fix this up. It was working there for a short time, but it's been very wet, and the date is up here. On the battery cover it says Tomy, made in China, copyright 2007. There's also a 2006 copyright Ghislaine Thomas Limited. 2007, I tell you what, it wasn't yesterday, it was actually quite some time ago. I've already drawn a train on here. Now, when I picked this up, I didn't think much about this. I did get it powered up, and I'm glad I did, because what I noticed was when it was working, it doesn't work now, I used to press that and it used to go toot toot, but I also noticed that these here were attempting to spin. Now I have opened up the back to try to work out what's going on. We'll see that soon because that's going to explain everything. And I thought to myself, well, what was going on down here? There was only one of these wheels with this toy. And I thought, well, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, but we've got 3 positions here, and this is a miraculous toy. And what happens is, if I had 3 wheels, I would have put 3 wheels there. Okay, this piece of track here is actually a rolling track. It would be rotating around in that direction and making it look like the train that you've drawn there is actually moving along. And these would also spin around as well, because when you take a look at that section there, you can see little cogs and things that make things spin. So the sort of play you'd have with this would be on a totally different planet. I'm not sure whether it played the Thomas and Friends anthem. Maybe someone out there who's had this can tell me. I have opened this up, and I think when you take a look at the insides, that really starts to explain the awesomeness of this. Yes, all the secrets are revealed once you take a look inside. And unfortunately, because the battery pack had leaked, the power cables here, they've all turned black inside, and that's part one of the trouble. Often that tracks along back to the electronics, and this is where you see the magic. That is the rolling road there. Okay, that would have been spinning around as you played with this. It would have been magic, I tell you. And then there's the motor here with the cogs, and that then turns this, which ends up turning the wheels. Now there is electrical connections here that I think must have connected everything up when the wheels were in place. I'm not quite sure, but that's what it looks like there. But when I had a look inside here, I just thought, wow, the Thomas and Friends magic and awesomeness in here is nothing like that other magnetic scribbler that we had a look at. There's also, I'm not sure what this was doing inside there. That might have just been something put in here by a child. It's a little 50-cent piece. I don't know how they got that in here. But you can see from that there, that is just Tomy toy magic in so many ways. Yet again, looking back in time, we see how awesome it was. I'll just get rid of that fake coin there. I did take a look on eBay. I thought, oh, maybe I'd like to find one of these and see how much they're going for. The problem is I don't know the name of this item, and I was typing in Thomas & Friends Tomy magnetic scribbler, and you know, I was coming up with a lot of other train stuff, but nothing like this. If only it was all here. If only it wasn't water affected. If only it wasn't sun affected. Man, this would have been an awesome piece of Thomas & Friends merchandise to look after. I can do another one of those chalk and cheese shots. I suppose that's the chalk, and that's the cheese. That's the chalk, and that's the cheese. Now tell me, which one of those two would you prefer to have? There's something I forgot to point out in this wonderful Tomy, I'll call it magnetic scribbler, is you've got Harold here, and Harold is a helicopter, and he's the one who floats around and ends up cleaning up your illustration there. And that's just a nice little Thomas & Friends thing on there that really the other cheaper one didn't display. The next item we're going to take a look at is this wonderful Thomas & Friends pop-up book and flashlight set. But before we get into this, let's check out how Fluffy's going. Well, here's Fluffy here, enjoying the sun, showing us a beautiful large belly. She's very relaxed, and luckily she is actually fully recovered. It did take a couple of weeks, and the vet did say that after she had the injections here, the back problem cleared up, and she's going to do the bolt on me. Okay, I'll just catch up with Fluffy here. Yeah, she's fine. It took a couple of weeks for her to come good. She was on tablets for a couple of weeks, but she's back to full health. And the problem with cats is when they have back issues, it's actually really hard to work out what's going on. And the issue with Fluffy was somewhere in this part here, and if you ever went to pick her up when she was sore, she made this really incredible growling sound. She just didn't want to be picked up at all. It's really nice to see her all bright and back to normal and doing all the cat-rific things that cats do. And when she had a problem, like, she couldn't jump up. So it's not nice when you see your cat not being able to do the things that cats usually do very well. But she's fine now, and she's loving this very, very late winter sun. She just loves it. Sorry for that fluffy part there. Well, back to this, and we'll take a read of what's going on the back here. It says, Thomas takes a new route that goes through the dark woods. What shadows does he see? Shine your flashlight to find out. Ooh, sounds spooky. I can also read there, it says, press 5 sound buttons right on the flashlight. So obviously the flashlight makes sounds. And it also says point your flashlight at the pop-ups to cast shadows. So it must be a pop-up book with a flashlight which makes sounds, and the licensing on this is 2012. You know what was around back in 2012? Chuggington. Thomas sometimes did some of his best work when he was up against the Chuggers. Yes, I almost remember it like yesterday. I used to say it was a fight between the red and the blue when Chuggington was around. Let me just very carefully, as always, get this out of the box, and I might have to do a bit of a snipperoonie as well. Oh, well, there goes the torch. It's on the ground, and here comes the book. Yeah, well, I've got that back, and it's as dead as a doornail. I think this one came through the charity shop because I haven't got a price on it. I might have to go and jiggle with that. Let's take a look at the book. Gently as always. Let's take a look at the book before I get the flashlight working. I hope it does work. The orientation to see this is like this. Let me set it up so I can use both hands. I love pop-up books, and I'll tell you what, I like this as well. Straight away, bang, I like this. I can see there's sections there where you would press the flashlight, but let's just look at it before we play with the light. This is very nice. I like it. There's a Thunderbirds pop-up book that I've got, which I absolutely adore. And look at that, it just looks like magic. It's going to look really good once we get the flashlight going. This is a flashlight. Now remember, this was all left in box, and I think we might have a bit of a problem here. How often have I spoken about batteries left in toys? And look at that there. I see this all the time, and I hate seeing it. The batteries have leaked, and I'm going to have to try and clean up the terminals here and find some battery. Oh, this one's going to need a fair bit of cleaning. I hope I can get it to work. I'll try my best to get a peep out of this, and I can't get the torch to work. It wouldn't have been a very bright torch because it's made for very young children. I looked at the book and it says Thomas sound, so I'm not exactly sure what that does. I think that's a ticking sound for time. Whistles, I think that's a chugging sound, this one. And there's a part where Thomas gets scared. And I don't know whether it's like a spooky sound or whatnot. Maybe you've got one of these, you can tell me. Of course, the first thing I tried to do was clean out the battery compartment, and that didn't do anything. And I thought, okay, the leaking batteries has gone further into this, and this is the problem with leaking batteries. And when I started to see inside here, I can see that the terminals here that go across from the board, they're all affected by the gunk that's leaked out of the batteries. Also, I can see on the speaker there, it's got corrosion going on. A lot of the wires have just come apart because the corrosion tracks up through the wires, like on that Tommy Scribbler thing. Sadly, this thing is basically history. It would have been nice to have this working, but I do have a bit of a backup plan. When I unboxed this, I'm thinking back, there was a couple of things that was a bit strange, and I remember this torch flew out. And also, well, it'd be nice if something like this came without batteries and you wouldn't have this problem, but normally if they've got batteries in them, you can see there's a little slot there, and that little slot normally has like a plastic thing, and the plastic thing gets pulled out, and then that starts the circuit, and hopefully that doesn't make the batteries leak when it's been shipped with batteries in it. Now, that little plastic thing was missing. These are the batteries that were in that torch. I'm not familiar with this brand. Maybe it's something that gets shipped with toys. I'm sure my audience, if they know something about this one, they'll tell me. As you can see, they've got all yucky. They're all slimy to the touch. But I think most batteries left for that length of time are going to turn out like this. We're going to turn the lights down low and get into spooky mode. I brought out the lovely 2006. It's a Nightlight. It's a lovely item, and it's also, guess what? A torch. Yeah, go Thomas, go. And I think this is going to give us the right amount of spooky light that we need, so let me set the book up. It was a scary night on Soda Island. James said to Thomas, follow the arrow to find your destiny. I'm making the story up so I don't get done for copyright. Thomas darted down the tracks, and then he saw a mysterious other train off in the distance. It seemed like a ghost train, and Thomas looked extremely scared. Ooh! I've got to turn the page. Then Thomas came up to a tunnel and saw a mysterious figure hovering around the tunnel. He didn't know what it was. He thought it might have been a fat controller, and then he thought it might have been, well, who knows? It's a mysterious shape. Next page. Thomas was so scared he went darting down the line. He saw Rocky. He asked Rocky, do you know what was hovering around the tunnel? And Rocky said, Thomas, it's night time. You better get back to the shed. You're not meant to be out at night. As a very scary shadow was going over in the distance there. So Thomas darted back down the tracks, and guess what? He ended up back in his sheds. James said, geez, Thomas, did you see anything strange tonight? And Thomas said, well, no, I wasn't quite following the story because the torch that came with this storybook doesn't quite work. Ooh. I like this a lot. It's just such a shame I haven't got the little torch that makes the sounds with the story. And the story I said isn't the one which is in the book. My story would have been fairly naffed compared to what the book says. And really it ends up that Thomas is a really useful engine. Well, he wouldn't be anything else, would he? In something like this. And let's not forget the wonderful 2006 torch, which is also a Nightlight, which goes into a stand like that. It's all nice and Thomas lovely, and you put it in there, and then you can see James, and there's also Thomas there to comfort you all through the night. I've just got the lights back on so we can appreciate this beautiful Thomas and Friends Nightlight and torch. And the way the torch is powered up is via these rings here, and the rings connect up with some metal prongs there, and it charges up that to give a light. But the light is actually very weak. The video camera may have made the light look quite strong. It's actually a very, very weak light, and that's what you sort of need for this sort of thing that young children are playing with. There's the licensing info there. A company called Worlds Apart. It says 2005, but it's 2006. Ghislaine Thomas Limited. It's a wonderful item indeed. I did look on eBay for this wonderful pop-up book and flashlight, and remember, mine was a 2012 model with the leaky batteries that destroyed the flashlight. I can see plenty of them on eBay. Let's say if I bought one for $15 and then to come out to Australia another $25, that's $40. then the exchange rate would bump that up to over $60. Nah, that's too expensive for what it is. Let's say if I was paying $20 for this, I'd be quite happy. When I was looking online at these pop-up books, I noticed they were in lots of other franchises as well. Mainly Disney ones like Mickey Mouse, Frozen, things like that. I don't know why I'm packing this up, because I suppose if the little flashlight isn't working, there's not much point keeping it. It's funny, every time I say flashlight, I really want to say torch. And then people want to correct me, oh, but a torch is a flaming stick. And as you can see, I'm having trouble here, so yeah, well, I sort of got it back together in the end. I've just had to do some quick reading up in relation to the next item we're going to take a look at. And that next item is that picture over there. And I'll tell you what, it's from a long time back. I've just got to reach right over to get this. Ugh. Okay, and actually I might drag out these as well. We'll take a look at those after we've taken a good hard look at this picture. This is a lovely picture indeed. It's titled Henry and James, and of course Henry is there with steam. He looks all fired up. James is there as well. He also has steam coming out of him. Boko is peeking in from a branch line, and you can tell it's Boko by the curved windows at the front there. The fat controller is standing on an oil drum. I wonder if that oil is for diesel. And there is the Tidmouth signal box there with a signal man waving at James. Now, I had a bit of a look at Henry there. It is the look of Henry after the flying kipper crash. And I just couldn't work out the wheel sets there. It is obscured by steam, and maybe people in my audience can work that one out for me. The faces on the engines look fantastic. I just think the composition's a little bit awkward, but maybe you'll disagree with me. Do you want to take a guess of what year this is from? It is a licensed piece of merchandise. Get ready for a surprise. Copyright Britt Allcroft Thomas Limited 1986. Yeah. Oh, goes right back, and I'll make an assumption. It's a sort of easy first sort of merchandise you're going to make before you take too much of a gamble. It is a little bit damaged. I had some blue tack there, so that gold chromey frame sort of had a split there. I wonder if I can actually see behind the picture, because maybe there'll be some more info on the back of it or something. Maybe it's been a repair job from before. I can see what looks like elastic there. And now I can get the print out. I hope this is a legit thing. It's a wonderful thing. I just hope I'm seeing it all correct here. Well, that's completely blank on that side. In fact, I think it looks nicer when it's away from that sort of goldy chrome frame. And now that I can feel the card, it's a nice quality card. This isn't like cheap nasty stuff of today, and you can also see that if I just bend this, and you can see the print quality and the way that the print has been done. Very unlike the absolute rubbish that you would see being pumped out today. This is a really nice item. This picture looks so much nicer when it's away from the glass, and that made me look at the glass, and I did clean one side of it, but now I've got it open, and if I pull this out, it needed a clean on the inside as well. So it's quite a mucky bit of glass, and now it's all apart. I can clean it all up and get it all back together. A bit of cleaning of the glass is going to make a big difference. You can barely see that panel of glass now. Okay, yeah, with that glass cleaned up, I'll tell you what, this picture is completely and absolutely popping now. It looks so different behind a nice clean panel of glass. It looks totally awesome. While we're thinking about Henry, here is Railway Series number 6 book, Henry the Green Engine. Unfortunately, it's faded across the front here. Books like this, it's all about condition and what edition is it. Is it a first edition? You can see the original colour almost on the back cover there. This is the after crash look of Henry, and I think they've drifted Henry's look so he looked less like Gordon. A few curious things that I noticed to read here. First published in Australia in 1988, and then I can see first published in United Kingdom in 1951, and if I go down here it says printed in Australia. That's rare to see these days. Henry had a bit of a troubled start. I don't think he was doing things that he really wanted to do. He always felt like a misfit. And I'm just trying to get to a nice picture of him before he was rebuilt. And we can see, this is a good one. Okay. Yes, if we look there, he's got like an angular firebox there. There's no plumbing running along the side here, along his boiler. And I notice his running board has a nice little curve there at the front. So as we traverse further on in the book, we still see Henry in his old format. And if I jump to the bookmark that I've got here, this is the crash in the Flying Kipper. And this is really the time when Henry is last seen in this form. If you're wondering what's happening there, that's the fireman. He jumps into the snow head first. That's his feet sticking up. I think the next picture's a recovery picture. It looks lovely. And then, miraculously, and we don't see the rebuild, but we see the rebuilt Henry there looking distinctively different to what Gordon looks like. And from the rebuild, I think much of Henry's problems were fixed, and I think Gordon was quite cheesed off. Oh, the indignity. When you look through this book, it's actually like being on another planet and you're looking at a totally different railway versus what Thomas and Friends has turned into today. There'd be so many of my viewers who are adults now, because this video is for adults, isn't it? Would remember books like this when they were young. They would have had much, much joy. And so many people blow off steam about how different Thomas and Friends is today. Now, what I like about this book, apart from it being from an older time, is you may have noticed on the front cover, it looks like it's had a fair bit of what I call Thomas love. The binder here looks like it's well worn. I noticed on some of the pages it had little dog ears and stuff going on. This book would have been loved by someone. In fact, it may have been loved by multiple people over the years. And I think that's something we always like to see. We always like to see stuff like this, which displays Thomas love. Or in this case, Henry love. Fluffy's in silly mode. She's sort of chasing shadows in her tail, and it's another sign she's fully recovered. Yeah, that's Fluffy full-blown crazy. Okay, now for this item here, and initially I didn't understand what I was looking at. I had a good search online. I only found a couple of these for sale on eBay. It's from very much a bygone era, and what these are, it's a set of oversized Thomas and Friends dominoes. They are really, really lovely. These are a bit of a handful. I've only got about half of them in my hand here, and they're a bit tricky to show to camera. Now, the one thing I noticed straight away, or apart from looking like a bygone era, these are showing lots of wear and tear, or as I call it, Thomas love. There's nothing wrong with that. But in showing the love, I think you'll find it makes these cards basically worthless. And you're probably saying, oh, but Leo, these things look classic and they must be worth money. But we'll talk about that soon. You can see the characters here. You can see that each character's got a colour square going around it. And you always find that Gordon will have the yellow. Toby will have the green. Percy will have the 6. You can see some Thomas love going on there on Percy. So, yeah, it threw me a bit that I didn't see numbers. There's a double James there. People might get excited by that. And normally dominoes have got a number association, but these have got characters and colour associations. And yeah, if you remember playing with these, wow, you'd definitely be an adult now, because these go right back to the glorious year of, can you guess, 1985. I did look for licensing info on these. There's actually nothing to be seen. There's actually blank on the other side. You probably need the box to see that. And the other peculiar part to these is these look nothing like the TV series that would have been on TV at this time. And that would have been the era where Ringo Starr's narrating, and in a sense the merchandise wasn't really keying into what was being served up on TV. Maybe this relates back to the railway series look of the trains, and even then some people might argue, well, this is a stylized version of that. Anyway, they're quite interesting and very different to look at. I did find some of these on eBay for sale, and in the end it's really all about condition. Now, the 1985 vintage comes in a red box, and the few that I found, it seems that the price is determined by the condition of the box outside and the overall condition of the product. So let's say you're paying $40 to $50 if something is really Mickey Mouse condition. There's also a 1998 version of these domino sets. It's different graphics. It's in a bluish box. And also they've got different characters as well. And sort of what was strange there was that there was some mint in box, but the price wasn't that different to, let's say, the 1985 vintage stuff. Now, the one I'd be going for, if you were going to collect this stuff, is the stuff which is 1985. That would be the one which I think in the future would be worth more money versus, let's say, the 1998 version. And you can see what was going on by the screenshots that I captured. I did find another 80s domino set. The boxing on this one was pretty ratty. I could see it was also sun affected. It had a starting price at auction of $4 US, but the postage was up near $30 US. And I think that if you start paying that much money for something like this, you're better off hunting out something which is much nicer, and I think you get much better value for it. But you have to be really careful at the postage cost at anything that you're buying online. When I first put my hand on this and saw how thick the card is and the scale, I thought to myself, wow, they'd make fantastic little coasters. Cut them in half and there you go, you got a billion Thomas and Friends coasters as a set of dominoes that possibly someone who collects games. I don't think you're going to touch it. They're in fairly bad condition. There's no box. It is nice to see they've been loved. I think people really like seeing stuff that's being used. But as a collectible, really not worth anything. On a previous merchandise video, I did look at this set of dominoes. Now, I'm seeing red boxing. We're going back into time. I don't think we ever worked out the date of these. It's got the cloud there. Okay, but we haven't got the text as we see, or the typeface that we see later on. It's a bit of an interim piece, which makes it interesting. The dominoes in this set, these were in really good nick. They're laminated timber. They're really nice in the hand. You know, bring on the good old days, I say. And in a funny way, we've got excellent condition of dominoes, but what's lacking here is the box condition, and often it's the box condition that determines price. A collector might have a fantastic box and ratty dominoes, and they might pick this up and say, I want the good dominoes, and they can, you know, get rid of their ratty box. I think this was made in Taiwan, but it says design in Australia, which always seems to confuse me. We've already looked at that one previously. We're not going to get into that, but there was this other set here, and this is 1999. We're getting into the blue box, so the brand is starting to realise what we want to look like. We're getting the Thomas & Friends cloud there with a typeface that a lot of people would remember. But the set of dominoes in this, sadly, it's not what I like, okay? They look great when you initially look at them, but it's when you look at what they're made of, it's just a material called MDF, and it's just complete rubbish. It's, how would I say, it's like glue fibre and pulp in a matrix of glue, and once these things get wet, they would just billow up, and well, it'd be good night sister. You wouldn't really want to touch this. If people are paying big money for stuff like that, I think they've lost the plot. If people are paying good money for something like this, that makes more sense. And I mean, honestly, I think if you found a pristine version of these in a Mickey Mouse box and pristine, wow, that's what I'd be going for. I suppose if I was smart, I could put these up on eBay and say they're extremely rare and valuable and difficult to find, and there is that saying, a fool and his money are easily parted. And I'll reach right over here, put these back where they were in front of that other lovely vintage picture. Okay, let's take a look at that strange little phone toy up there. Okay, I've grabbed that one, Thomas & Friends smartphone. In fact, I've got another little toy phone, and it's more of a flip phone one, and it's right here. We can do a comparison, hey? I think we'll take a look at the little flip phone first. Okay, a Thomas & Friends novelty flip phone. I'm pretty sure they came in lots of other franchises. I'm only looking at this because my son requested to play with this. He thought it was pretty cool, and I think what he liked was the fact it did this. It makes sounds. It's got a picture there, and I'll have to come in closer. It is copyright 2007, Ghislaine Thomas blah blah. So I'm sort of thinking this is back before smartphones became smart, back when we were smart and the smartphones made us dumb. And as you press different things here, you get different sounds. It's actually quite a quiet thing. Okay. Ringing sound there. Something ode to joy, I think. Oh, copyright strike. That's a photo sound. Chugging sound on that button there. Lights flashing, and Thomas whistle. It's sort of toy scale in a sense. It's tiny, and these are always hanging out around the checkouts, a bit like the good old checkout Thomases, and of course they're in the area where children would see them and they'd start nagging, oh, can I have that blah 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 phone that makes little sounds and blah blah blah, and of course most parents came along and ended up buying one. And I think the novelty to this, it's more like a fidgety toy, something you can play with like that. That's what caught my son's attention with this, not so much the fact it makes these other sounds. And yes, being a flip phone, well, it's a bit of a thing from a bygone era. When these were for sale, they were like a $4 or $5 novelty toy. Okay, we'll take a look at the Thomas & Friends smartphone next. I actually purchased this, I'm pretty sure I bought it at Toys R Us. Looks very impressive, and how much did I pay? Nearly $30. Ouch. It's a toy that's made in China, boring, and it's licensed to 2015, so at the time of making this video, this toy is 5 years old. Let me read the back here, because parents would read this to determine whether they're going to buy this. Okay, learn about numbers and colours with Thomas & Friends. With 5 activities to discover, little ones can pretend to call and answer the phone. Well, wouldn't they use their mum's phone to do that? Isn't that what that's for? Anyway, reading on. Play the quiz and learn more about Thomas Universe. I think they're missing a word there. It should say play the quiz and learn more about the Thomas Universe. This is also the time when you could buy a Thomas like that, although I think we're missing a couple of wheels there. So with a toy like this, when it's in store, I bet you many people have landed this in the pram, and of course the child's done that, and they get excited. They start to want to do more and more, and then of course the parent buys it, so you take it home, and then you've got to unbox it, and that's what we're going to do now, if we can get into it. Okay, well there goes for saving the boxing, hey? Of course, unbox it very gently. Hang on a second. Hang on, let's read what this tag says. What is this? Warning. Remove before giving toy to your child. Once removed, the sound level will be reduced to protect your child's hearing. Well, that's no good for me. I want to hear the toy. Maybe I'll stick this thing back in there and we'll hear it properly. I've got to get rid of this fangly danglies. The things that stop toys from being stolen in store. Ah! How many parents have had the box fight to free a toy from the box? And the secret is you've got to hit them really hard and they'll free up. There you go, I told you that would work. Let's take a look at this beautiful phone. The first thing I'll do is I'll get some fresh batteries into this, because this toy's been sitting around for 5 years and I'm a bit worried that what's in here is possibly leaked. Okay, it doesn't look too bad. I've got a neighbour starting a whippersnipper now, so there goes making reviews out here today. I'll get some new batteries in of a completely unknown brand, without saying the word Kirkland, which is Costco. And get that screwed back in. Been a long time since I've done a screwdriver shot on my channel, hey? I'm a bit curious about the condition of these batteries. These GP ones are what you found in interactive chuggers, and what I noticed was they tended not to leak. Okay, looking at the, it's a bit down. We really want the bars to be all the way up there, so yeah, those batteries are a little bit second-hand. Well, the first thing I'm going to say here is it's actually quite large. It's, the size of a real phone in my adult hand, and what I've noticed is, here's the sound without that little tag in, but I'm going to put this in, and then you'll get that sound boost. I think we'll do the review of this with that in, and it's much louder. Much louder.
Let's meet Thomas and his friends.
So yes, with the tag in, it's actually quite loud. The sound comes out of here. Now I'm going to bring that up to the microphone of the camera, and I'm going to make it make a sound with that tag in. Listen to this.
Let's meet Thomas and his friends.
It's a nice looking unit. I think what's caught me by surprise is the size, and I've got my iPhone 7 here. Okay, so it's not much different to that. I can't afford anything higher than that. Sorry, Apple. And compared to that other little phone, you can just see it's on a totally different size scale. Mind you, the boxing did say it was for 2 years plus. Just looking at the buttons here, I like this one. Chugga chugga, and it lights up a bit. And as you press these,
Number 1, blue.
oh, it's got different activities.
I'm the number 1 blue engine.
And talks as well.
James. The number 5.
Okay, we're learning different things as we press.
Charlie. The number 9. The number 0. Black.
Oh, black. We're learning colours.
The director of the railway.
Okay, we've got voices as well. That does nothing, and that does nothing. There's a whistle.
Press on the number 8.
Oh, okay, press the number 8.
The number 8.
Oh, okay.
Well done.
Oh, I'm getting addicted now.
Press on the number 9.
Oh, challenge here for me.
Number 9. Well done.
Okay, let me make a mistake.
Press on the number 2.
I'm not going to press 2, I'm going to press 3.
The number 3. Let's try something else.
That's my life story. Dun dun. Okay. Okay. Actually, I'm having fun now. Remember, I've got the thing that plays louder.
I'm James. Who's this? I'm James. Who's this?
Oh, I'm James.
James.
Oh, okay. It's a guessing who is.
Find the number 7 brown engine.
Brown engine. Isn't that number 7? Toby.
Well done.
Let me make another mistake, and I'm good at making mistakes.
The friendly red bus.
The friendly red bus. Okay, well, I'm going to go for James. Dun dun. Again, the story of my life. Quite addictive fun. Look, I'm pressing buttons here and I'm having fun. I want to keep pressing buttons. What does this do?
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's a turn off, and that's a phone sounds. Oh, we're getting a call. Hello? Can you hear me? No, because it's not a smartphone, it's a dumb one. Wow. Yeah, look, man, you could spend hours hitting things on this. I better stop before I'm totally addicted. Now remember, all that demonstration was done with this here that makes it louder. So when you're in store and you're playing with it, it's going to entice you to buy. We take this out and it's actually quite soft. Listen to this.
Let's meet Thomas and his friend.
It's so different.
This is a fat controller.
It's like volume down.
This is 30.
Yeah, you know, because
Let's meet Thomas and his friend.
the noise comes out of here, and if you put it up to the ear, it's got to be safe for children. Look, it's not too bad. I like this. On the battery cover, that might be the company behind this toy, and I know there's going to be some people who are going to struggle with a toy like this because the argument is we need to keep children off devices like this. A toy like this can be easily replicated in an app form, and I think that's where it's going to be the battleground. It is a peculiar choice of characters here. Okay, and I think they've had to do this because, let's say, Henry is 3 would have clashed with the green of Percy, so they've put Kevin in there, and it's the same with Harold there. People would have preferred to see Gordon, but of course he's blue and would clash with Thomas, and we could never have a clash with Thomas, could we? Maybe the character selections there are troubling, but there's a reason for that. They need to keep an educational aspect to this toy. It is robust. I showed you that through the unboxing. I really did smash this around a few takes to get it the take that I wanted, so it's very robust. And hey, I'm a hard marker or something like this, but I'm giving this one the thumbs up. It's a fun thing to play with, very addictive. What to look at next? That is the question. There's lots of Thomas Awesome up here on the table, but there's also a little bit of Thomas Not So Awesome. And sometimes we like to take a look at something Thomas Strange, and I think the item that has been staring at me beside me for so long is one of those items, some Thomas and Friends Walkie-talkies. This item here, I've actually seen a knockoff version of these and they're far less awesome, and we're going to get into these, but first off, we're going to take a look at some information on the back here. On the back here it reads, features designed for comfortable grip, flexible safety antenna, package contents, walkie-talkies and a warranty card. Long antenna offers great range, and it's got a call button. I purchased this at Toys R Us for basically $20, and it's a 2016 licensed product. It's just reminding me how many awesome Thomas & Friends merchandise items there were at Toys R Us, and Toys R Us is gone, although some people say, oh, but it came back. But when I say it's gone, the retail space that I used to see has gone. Yes, you paid a bit more at Toys R Us, but you used to find awesome things, and I think I could classify this as one of the awesome sort of things. There is this paperwork within the card of the packaging there, and that's Australian consumer law. Basically, if something's ratty and doesn't work, it has to be fixed or replaced. Something about batteries, you often see that with battery toys and stuff, you know, only use blah blah batteries, blah blah blah. And user instructions, which is, there's basically not much to these. Okay, and this is the other side here, and about the warranty that was spoken about on the back of the packaging. I remember when I saw these in shops and I giggled at the eyes. They've both got derpy eyes. Okay, so that's what drew me in. Now, they do look very Thomas the Tank, and I thought these would slide into my Thomas the Tank collection as well. They actually got a nice feel in the hand. It doesn't feel too ratty. Nice flexible antenna. That's the push the talk button. They take 9-volt batteries. it's, you know, it's nice. And if you're a little young person, you're running around the backyard with this in your hand, talking to Thomas, you'd be having fun. I'll just turn this on and I'll say a bit through the other one so you can hear the sound quality.
Okay, this is the sound quality from this walkie-talkie. Yeah, it's a bit ratty, but hey, if you're little, you can have a whole lot of fun with something like this. And as a novelty toy, Thomas and Friends, yeah, walkie-talkies. I like the look, but maybe the sound quality's not that much sharp.
So there's a bit of a staticky sound when they're on. Maybe it doesn't do that in other countries. Maybe that's an Australia-centric thing. And if you do this, I remember playing with walkie-talkies when I was a kid. We used to do this all the time. Yeah, so maybe that squeal is a bit of a warning of things not to do. Oh, that static is quite loud. Now, as for looks, I'm actually giving this a thumbs up. As for a set of walkie-talkies, well, it's really just a children's toy, isn't it? And there's something rather nice. While it's raining, I can't do much here because it makes too much noise on the roof. There's a lovely white cockatoo that's decided to pick up on some bread that was in the backyard for the birds. And it's sitting on a frangipani, just on the edge of the back deck. Lovely birds. Just don't put your finger too close to that beak. It's rather strong. Another thing about these styles of birds in Australia is they have really long lifespans. I can't quote you from the top of my head what the number is, but if I'm smart, I go into Google and Google will tell me, and I can put it up as a text as I'm just watching this lovely cocky sitting in the rain, enjoying some lovely bread. It's these guys who often turn up in the afternoon making a lot of noise, and so many times I've been interrupted by their noise. I seem to get kookaburra noises in the morning, and if it's anywhere like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and past 4, it's these guys screeching their lungs out. So often I've been interrupted by their lovely screeching. Cocky's just dropped the bread, had a bit of a scruffle there. And I think maybe another thing about 2020, there has been no jets flying over. It's actually been very quiet in that sense, doing stuff outside. The bulk of 2020, there's been very few aircraft movements around. And normally in the afternoon is when you get a lot of the air traffic going between states in Australia. And it's actually been a wonderful relief not putting up with the constant jet noise that comes over every few minutes. Picking up the lost bit of bread, and looks like we're just going to sit on the ground there and keep on enjoying that lovely bit of bread until we get bored of it, of course, and off we go. Thomas and Friends does food items as well. Now, the bulk of the stuff is marketed towards children, and I think there's some fairly unhealthy choices here. Mind you, the organic pasta shapes are probably not too bad. I'm not really that keen on this sort of stuff. I know the YouTuber Extreme Trains has done excellent videos on this item here. That's the little candies with the Thomas faces on the end, and also the Thomas and Friends chewing gum, and I think that stuff's from Japan. I'm not going to try and redo what people have already done in an excellent way. One of my favourites is the Pez Thomas. There's many things you can do with that. I throw away the candy and I keep the Pez, but we're going to take a bit of a look at these Thomas the Tanks done in chocolate, which are out at Easter time. The problem with trying to keep chocolate and this Thomas and Friends merchandise is, and these are like chocolate pops, you can see here just how this is degraded over a few years. The aluminium foil's gone weird, the chocolate inside has also gone strange, and unfortunately I just don't know how to keep this stuff without it being destroyed. That's a big problem with chocolate. These two chocolate Thomas the Tanks are the same, but their packaging is actually quite different. This one here, in the clear packaging, is copyright 2019. Now, I quite like this one because you can see exactly what you're in for. It's obviously Thomas the Tank in chocolate version. He's going through a tunnel. It's actually very nice. They were for sale in Aldi, Australia. There was also a Pinkie Pie and a VW Combi, and from memory they were $11. Now, the trick to these was to come along after Easter if they were still there, and you could possibly get one of these for, say, $4. But Thomas is a pretty popular character and it's a bit tricky to find him after Easter. This one here, in very different packaging, is copyright 2020. Now, when I take a look at this one, peering in this way, well, it's obviously Thomas the Tank because we can see from this, but we can barely see the chocolate. He is driving through a tunnel. I've just got to get the right way. There we are. Going through a tunnel. I suppose this dictates a tunnel better than that clear packaging. But I don't know. I think to me, this doesn't have the same sort of attraction as seeing the whole chocolate Thomas. Maybe you'll see it differently to me. But one thing I do know is that both of these would be very, very difficult to keep as a Thomas in my Thomas the Tank collection, because I don't understand how to keep chocolate past its use-by date. It really is radically different packaging, and what is peculiar is the older one, 2019. This chocolate looks fine still. I'm not seeing that telltale sign of the chocolate going white and going a bit strange happening to that yet with the 2021, and this one was given to me as a gift. This was available while we almost had lockdown, in the sense, of course, of the virus share. But the chocolate in there isn't looking as, well, let's just say not as good as the 2019 one. So that is a little bit of a Thomas and Friends mystery. Maybe I'll get these bad boys out of their packaging so we can have a better look at the glorious chocolate. Now, the thing that grinds on me with these is a sugar content, and it's just way too high. Although people will be screaming, but Leo, that's what it's all about when you're having chocolates, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's the 2019 one coming out. Looks rather nice, doesn't it? I actually feel like having a bite. And I'll just carefully get the 2020 one out as well. And the other thing I noticed on the back was the good thing is that it's not coming from China. It's made in the UK or England or whatever you want to call it. And this one does look different, doesn't it? Wow. It wasn't like that when it was given to me. It's gone all whitish. And at least coming from the UK, I sort of trust it a bit more than, let's say, chocolate made in China. Okay, there they are. Wow, it's almost like they're from two totally different Thomas planets. The odour from these is intense. The sweet, sweet smell. Rodents would love to get into this. This is the 2021. This is the 2019 one. And I was going to manhandle them, but today's actually quite a warm day. And I'll just spin this around so you can see the details on it. It's got some nice detailings. In fact, it's got more detailings than a lot of the Thomas & Friends toys. Not much going on the back there. Looks pretty much the same on this side. And the little face there, yeah, it looks very Thomasy. It's sort of cute. So what's your thoughts on that? I actually quite like it. Man, the odour from this thing is intense. It's hard to describe. If you only had smell-o-vision on YouTube, it'd knock you out. Let me bring in the 2021. And I'll just drag them side by side. You can see the colour difference. The 2021 does have a bit of a remnants of its what it would have looked like. And of course, spinning around, it's all basically the same as the 2019 one. You can see there what it used to look like. I've got no idea why this has changed colour. Maybe it had a very rough trip on the ship out to Australia and got a little bit too hot. Let's check out that face there. Well, that face there is looking like it's had a little bit of chocolate distress. And there they are side by side for a nice chocolatey comparison. There would be enough sugar in these to power a rocket to the moon, and they feel rather waxy because it's such a warm day. Maybe I'll set up a little experiment to show you how much sugar is in these Thomases. Every time I burn something, I learn something. And I used sparklers there as a heat reaction to get the chocolate burning. And when the sparklers are burning, it's very similar to a thermite reaction that's used to join rail lines, keeping a train theme going all the time. Now, once the sparklers have done their thing, and it was a very short period of time the sparklers burn for, we start to see the chocolate burning, and what's burning within the chocolates is the fats and the carbohydrates, and a lot of this product is made up of sugar. When I had a look at the nutritional information on the back of the Chocolate Thomas packet, I knew this was going to be like rocket fuel, and I wasn't surprised at all that it could sustain its own fire. And as we keep watching the Chocolate Thomas burning here, I'm just hoping that people haven't purchased this Chocolate Thomas and gone and sat on the couch and just nibbled away at it and eaten it in one giant hit. Now, what is very curious between the 2019 and 2020 Chocolate Thomases is the serving suggestion size. Now, 2019 suggests this has got 5 servings of 42 grams. Yet, the 2020 Chocolate Thomas suggests this has 10 servings of 19 grams. That's a big change between 1 year. So as we continue watching the Chocolate Thomas burn off all its energy, I can't imagine somebody sitting down there and dividing this up into 10 pieces of 19 grams and saying, well, here are your little bits of chocolate that you can have every now and then. And maybe what was most astonishing was how long the Chocolate Thomas burned for. It was roughly 15 minutes, and when you witness that going on in front of you, you start to really reconsider every piece of high sugar, high fat chocolate you put into your mouth. There's a lot of energy to get rid of every time you get into this stuff. Okay, another beautiful one has magically appeared. Now, my tip is if you're going to open these up, open them up nice and gently. You definitely don't want to use your Thomas & Friends ukulele to unbox it, and I'll show you why. That's the reason why. And look how tough that ukulele is. And look how tough that ukulele is. I know, some are going to see the ukulele, oh, it's broken, Leo. Well, guess what super glue's for? It will put it back together just like new every time. And don't you forget that. It was good to have a clean up after that, and I actually found in the clean up Godzilla's arm. It was missing there for some time. It had been some time since this Godzilla toy had been seen on my channel, and many people said when they saw this years ago, they said it was a knockoff toy. Now, I did have some licensing on one of the feet here. Let's take a closer look. There it is there on the sole of the foot, and many people were skeptical even when they saw that on this Godzilla. After seeing the way this Godzilla toy was falling apart after a little bit of distress, I'm thinking those who are saying that this is a knockoff are absolutely correct, although there will be some people arguing the other way, I'm sure. It's a sort of argument point that can go on forever. But I'm thinking now, I'm seeing how the plastic is broken on this. Legit toys tend not to break up in the way that this Godzilla toy has fallen apart. Next, we're going to take a look at the Thomas & Friends Golden Cookies by Mr. Munchies. 8 snack packs, but don't worry, there's no artificial colours. Must be awesome. It does say new recipe, and to help me when I look at these, I'm going to use a 2017 copyright plate that looked like that. Sort of when they were saying since 1945. I remember where I purchased these. It was at a retailer called The Reject Shop in the town where I live. There's also other brands doing something very similar. On the back, there's a nice little graphic to colour in. There's also some nutritional information there, split up between, it looks like, Australia and Hong Kong. I hope I'm right there. The licensing info is 2017. Now, this style of product is actually something you'd often see in something like your Asian grocery store. Now, also notice it says here, free sticker with every box. And then on the side of the box is all the available stickers. So we're going to have to go through quite a few Mr. Munchies to collect all these wondrous Thomas & Friends thickies. There's a couple of stickers there that have caught my eye, especially the streamlining stickers, but with only one stickers per box, that's a lot of Mr. Munchies to go through to hope for some streamlining glory. I've got some great memories from collecting stickers. I've still got my sticker collection from being a very young person. Now, it looks like to open this, you get into it, something here. Okay, and there's little packets of Thomas & Friends Mr. Munchies goodness inside. Oh yeah. Okay, let's open up this packet and see what we've got. I can also see here, oh, the sticker. Oh, okay. This is the sticker, copyright 2017. Notice it says 1 of 30 up here. Now, this is a very nice sticker. It's a nice thick sticker, okay? I know my stickers, I played with them when I was little, and it's just a shame it's not a little bit bigger, okay? It's just a little bit small, but then again, I suppose if you're a sticker collector, sometimes having a small, nicely presented and well-printed sticker is what it's all about, and that's exactly what that sticker is. I'm giving the sticker some nice high marks there. Let's take a look at the Munchies. Now, I will point this out, this is well past its use-by date. Just be mindful of that. So we're about 2 years past the use-by date. I hope my math is correct there. And we'll get into the lovely Munchies here. Well, maybe these are child-proof because I'm having trouble here. Sometimes you edit things because you can't open something, and that's what's going to happen here. Thank goodness for editing, hey? That's what editing's all about. It's about compressing time and not wasting your time. And unfortunately, so many people on YouTube don't bother. Okay, well, it opens up like this. And I'm hoping these Munchies are still okay. Always remembering they're well past their use-by date. Okay, I'll just get these onto the little plate here. Yeah. It looks like there are 6 designs going on with the Mr. Munchies here. There's train tracks there, railway quathing. Looks like a train wheel. There's a train there. It could be Thomas, it could be anybody really. There's a T for Thomas, and of course he's the #1 engine. I'm hoping that's covered it all, and I suppose if you're a Thomas fan and you had those at school and you could show your friends you had those little Mr. Munchies to munch on, well, it'd be a very happy day, wouldn't it? I can certainly smell the sweetness coming up from these little Mr. Munchies, just like that chocolate Thomas. I'm a bit curious of the sticker inside this box, and I'm going to only go in and find out what it is, because that sticker collection thing in my brain is starting to trigger by seeing these. Now, where is the sticker in this one? I actually scared myself then, because initially when I looked around here and I looked in the box, guess what? I couldn't find a sticker, and I had to go back and look at the video very carefully. And the sticker actually snuck out the back here, as they do. Ooh, I wonder what I've got, hey? Ooh. Oh, nice, nice. This is a very different graphic to the previous sticker. Copyright information there. Number 8 of 30. Always happy. Very nice. And if I bring up the other sticker side by side, 2 lovely Thomas & Friends stickers. And now I want to collect all 30 of them. I'm so excited. I'm one of these people, I get this horrible collecting bug when I see something like that, and I want to have a lot. Now, I'll just very carefully, and gently of course, get these Mr. Munchies back into the box, and I don't think I can really keep something like this in a collection. I'm just a bit scared of foodie sort of stuff, because it does perish over time. It does attract rodents, but I think maybe the best way to stop rodents is to add Godzilla into the Mr. Munchies, because that's what Godzilla does the best. And he loves the ones on the plate as well. Oops, sorry Fluffy, again. One consolation at least, Godzilla's arm was easy to find this time. I might have found Godzilla's arm, but unfortunately I've lost Godzilla's head. And one thing I like about Godzilla is he's actually a pretty good artist. Look at the wonderful break he's done on that plate there. I mean, that's just magic. The wonders of Godzilla never cease to amaze me. We're going to take a look at the Thomas & Friends Roll'ems next. I'll bring this piece in to show the Roll'ems. Now, this is one piece from a Let's Pretend food play set. I'll call it that. I've actually got the whole set. It's a wonderful item. I don't really want to pull that one apart. I bought it from Toys R Us for $10. It's a 2008 licensed item, and very much a trip back in time when things were just that little bit different and very nice. Let me just read this spiel here. It's quite interesting. Scenes from the island of Sodor encourage the kind of pretending that makes mealtime fun. Best of all, the more your child eats, the more of the scene is revealed. A great incentive for children who aren't always good eaters. That was never a problem for me. Coordinated fork and spoon for even more imaginative fun. A very interesting product. This product was made by Learning Curve. Now, what spooked me a lot was I went online to try to find one of these for sale on eBay, even just components of it, and I couldn't find it. And back then, this is the sort of Thomas you would have been playing with. That's a Take Along Thomas by Learning Curve. It's sort of weird. We now categorise a toy like this as a classic Thomas toy. Now, I thought that I had one of these Thomases connected to a spoon in my Thomas the Tank collection. Let's just tip this out to see if I've got one. I'll just push this to the side for the moment. We're meant to be looking at these. We've been totally derailed. Now, in this tub here, the first thing that caught my eye was this here. That's a Thomas from a Races to the Rescue book. I know that because I looked at that in another episode. But look at that. I'm sure that face is totally different. I suppose that's just another Thomas mystery. Plenty of those about. Now, this tub is full of Thomases of this sort of scale. Okay, that's what this tub's about. And if I am going to find a Thomas spoon, it could possibly be in here. And we're going to love the sound of jangly Thomases here. Yeah! I'm in total flashback mode. That looks totally crazy. Now, there's some awesome stuff in here. There's also some other things as well. Yes, we are looking for a Thomas attached to a spoon without getting too distracted by wonderful things. Man, there is just so much variety here. I notice a lot of the magnetised Thomases like to stick together. I am looking for a Thomas of this scale attached to a spoon. You know what? Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe it was a Percy I had, and if I had a Percy, well, I think I would have given it away. Thomas Glory. I'm not seeing what I want to see, but I tell you what, it's just reminded me of how much Thomas & Friends variety there is in that sort of scale of Thomas Train. Do you remember the little flip phone that we looked at, hopefully in this video? 2007. Now, at the same time as that, you also had the Checkout Thomases. I can't remember if I spoke about these, but sometimes when I say Checkout Thomases, people don't know what I'm talking about. These were little Thomas toys and other characters in the Thomas franchise that you could pick up basically at the checkouts, and I'm pretty sure they were $2. They were like a really cheap little Thomas toy. And they were actually pretty good. They had strange little wheels underneath here because these were just static wheels. But nevertheless, they gave you a really, really nice looking little Thomas toy for not much money. And, you know, I've got stacks of these. And I think in some countries, people will say, oh, we never had the Checkout Thomases. But I tell you what, Checkout Thomases are pretty darn awesome. Total confirmation, this video is totally derailed. We will get to the Roll'ems, but let me please pack these away nice and carefully, of course. That was a savage derailment. Sorry about that. Okay, Thomas & Friends Roll'ems. These have been in my possession for some time. It's got a copyright there of 2012. It's got nutritional information there, and if I flip it around like this and go like that, it's got a best before date of sometime in 2013. So we're dealing with something that's, well, 7 years past its best before date. Shake, rattle, roll. I thought they were like Maltesers, but it actually feels fairly weighty. It could be solid chocolate. And it says open here, and we'll get some out and we'll see what's happened to these after these years have gone by, hey? It could be tragic, I think, for what I'm seeing coming out of the box. I don't think they're in very good shape at all. Ugh. Okay, this is another reminder to me why I don't want to keep chocolate or try to keep chocolate in a collection. They're stuck together, some of these, and they've just gone really, really weird. And I've just crushed a few here, and you can see what's going on there. I can only assume they were solid chocolate. They've just gone horribly, horribly yucky and very strange feel to them. It just feels horrible. It's like, well, it's chocolate that's gone funny. Well past its use by date, best before, whatever. Yuck. And strangely, there's not really that much of a smell from these. Nah, that's bad chocolate. I'm sure when they were fresh and in date, they would have been completely lovely to have a bit of chocolate fun on. In seeing that, I'm now wondering about this. These are like Pocky sticks. It's all, looks like Japanesey all over this. It's got a best before there of 2013. I'll get into this one and I'll see what's happening, hey? Won't spend too much time on this because it's probably going to be a little bit strange, hey? Whoa, it's always a bit spooky what's going to come out. It's looking sort of promising there. They are in a bag. In fact, this isn't looking too bad at all. Its packaging's very Thomasy. But I don't think I'd be munching into those there. A little bit too past the use by date. As usual, curiosity has killed the cat here. I've got into this and we're just going to drag a few out. And by hand feeling it, I might know more. I'm seeing some strange markings on the chocolate there. It just feels weird as well. It just... how can I describe it? A bit too soft. I think these things are more crispy. Nah, not a chance I'd be putting that in my mouth. No way. Yes, I'm learning a lesson. It's a bit ratty, sorry for the pun, to keep food items in a collection. I'll just tidy this up and I'm going to finish up on some little Thomas models that will explain something I spoke about earlier in a really nice way, and I'll just carefully put this aside. Woo! I could rattle on about all sorts of merchandise on the table here, but this one here is one of the best. It's the Thomas & Friends My Busy Book. Now, I've already looked at this extensively in my channel, and most people who are Thomas & Friends sort of fans would know about this piece of merchandise. It came with a playmat, some amazing little Thomas & Friends toys. This is a 2012 variation. I think there were 2 versions of this book. This is my son's one that he's had and played with and whatever else. There's the playmat there. These are the little trains now. These are incredibly detailed trains. In fact, my son's added stuff in here. That doesn't come with it, okay? Just ignore that you've seen that. He's obviously been playing a different sort of train game here. And I spoke about Gordon and Henry earlier, and I thought, well, what's a good example of some really detailed versions of those trains? Well, they actually lay in here. The My Busy Books, Gordon on top, Henry underneath. A bit strange because the tenders are attached, but nevertheless they present to you some of the best looking little Thomas & Friends toys from what was a very inexpensive piece of merchandise. Now, earlier on in the video I was trying to think, what's the best way to show you in model form how Henry used to have a shape like Gordon but is now distinctly different. And if you line up the front here of these two, you can see the difference at the front there. We're not really looking at the faces, we're looking at the shape of the engine. Around the firebox area there's an angled shape going around there on Gordon, but there's a boxy shape on Henry. The answer was always on the table looking at me in the face, really. Right here, the smallest little cheap piece of merchandise has some of the best little examples of Thomas and Friends toys. On the previous Thomas and Friends Mega merchandise video, we had a look at some children's underwear. There was one there that had a really interesting pattern, and I thought to myself, wow, that would make a very cool face mask because it's the virus year. Now, I had a tailor make this up for me, and even in the tailor shop it caused much discussion. People saw this and they said, wow, where did you get that material, and we want one of these. I walked down the street with this on, and many people have said, where did you get this face mask? Well, I'm a bit embarrassed to say, well, it's derived from a pair of children's underwear, but it had me thinking about what is a good pattern to make up a face mask, as in if you got your favorite franchise or whatnot, what's the little thing to think about when you're selecting a pattern. But we might pick up on this in the next Mega Thomas and Friends merchandise video.